sorry. It's been a long time since I posted. Just snacking on these chips. They're really good. Like, this is the best. Nothing better. Okay, so I want to talk about. By the way, it's Carlos. For those who don't know, Carlos. This is just an African guy's perspective. I want to talk about everything that's going on in America with the shootings and the killing and whatnot, the looting, all of that. I just want to say, like, it's sad that till this day we have to deal with this kind of stuff, with this kind of systemic problem, with this kind of racism. It's just like with all these years and the protesting and everything else, you would think people, and with all the killing, you would think people would change, people would have a different, this policeman would have a different would have a different, I don't know how to say it, like a different perspective, or would take care, would arrest people in a different way. It's funny how this thing, we are in 2020 and we are still dealing with this type of stuff. It's just not fair, it's absurd, it's crazy, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, what else do people need to do? What else do people need to say? What else do people need to how else do people need to protest? Like, what do you do? People have been protesting for years, for decades, for a long time. So it's just like, what do people do? And then also, it doesn't help, to have a president like, Trump, who just, instead of standing with the people and saying, listen, I'm gonna fix this problem, I'm gonna fix this situation, he doesn't help at all. He comes and just makes it worse, makes a few ignorant comments. And I saw a post where I saw a post on Instagram where people made a difference of how he talked about white protesters versus black protesters. Like, when it was white protesters, he was like, oh, these are good people who need help, who just did something wrong. But then when it was black protesters, he said like, oh, these thugs are out here just destroying and doing all these things. So it's just, you can see the difference on his on his reaction. And it's just sad that in 2020 people still have to deal with this. That man George Floyd was on the floor literally saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Like, why can't you listen to that? Because you don't see him. Do you see him as a human being? Do you even see him as a human being? It's like, he's telling you he cannot breathe. Even if you think he did something wrong, that's not, you just don't treat him like an animal. You just don't treat him like nothing. You just don't treat him like an object. This has been going on for years. It's just like, what do you do? And now people are tired. People are reacting, they're saying, oh, people are doing too much. No, like, people are tired. People are frustrated. Like, this is someone's life. This is someone's son. You just don't do that. You just don't, I don't know how to say, like, it's crazy. Like, I understand what people's frustration, I understand what people are going through. And then there was this other video about this woman on the park, and this man was telling her that she cannot take the leash off of her dog, the dog thing. I don't know if I'm calling it the right way. So she told him, you cannot take the leash off in this part of the park. You have to keep it on. You cannot do that. If you want to do that, you're supposed to go on the other side. There was a place that she could do that. But she did not like that he was calling her out. She decided to lie. and she said, I'm gonna call the police. And then when she called the police, she was like, this African American man is threatening me. This African American man, he's an African American man, he's threatening me and my dog. And and you could see it blatantly that she's clearly a racist. Like, what if he did not videotape it? What if he didn't have the videotape it to prove it? He would go to jail. He would lose his life. Like, he would lose everything, because they would not listen to him. They would take her word over his, you know? They would not listen to him. He would go to jail. He would lose his career, and everything would be done. And he would probably stay for a long time in jail. So it's crazy. I'm just happy that he had the video to prove it, because it's just like, I mean, seriously, American folks, white folks. It's not all white people, by the way. There are some. I've been to America. I've lived in Houston, Texas for about, what, 4 or 5 years. And not all white people are bad. Not all. But there are some that are just still in that ignorant mindset. Still in that racist mindset. You know? She knew her privilege. She knew she could use that against him. That's why she said that. You know? Because it's like, as soon as you say African American, the cops come running. Because it's the easiest thing. I mean, there are other terrorists, white terrorists, that have not even, you know, that are, some are in jail for like 2-3 years, some are not even in jail just yet. And there are black people that use marijuana or weed or whatever illegally, and they're going to jail for life. For life. There are police officers that have killed black people before, and they're just out there and still not charged with murder. But there are black people who, just by smoking weed or forgery, are doing life in jail. Just for you to see the difference. Is that fair? Is that really fair? Like, is that fair? That's all that I'm saying, you know? Like, what are we gonna do? I feel bad for the American people and what they're going through, what they've been going through for a couple of years. So I say, stay strong, you know, keep protesting, keep going at it, like, don't give up, you know. I know that, you know, some celebrities feel like, oh, this is not my problem, I should not talk about it. Oh, if I talk about this, it's gonna ruin my career. So you'd rather shut up and let somebody die and let this injustice keep going on, instead of standing up and speak up, because you're worried about your career, you're worried about how you're gonna look. This is the time where everybody has to step in. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, whatever race you are, Asian, Latino, it don't matter. Everybody has to step in right now and say something. Like, this is the time for everybody to just come together and say something. Like, this at this point, it's too far. At this point, it's just enough. Enough is enough. Everybody has to stand up on this one. I don't care. Every celebrity has to come in and say something. White celebrities, black, Asian, Latinos, everybody has to say something. You cannot just, you can't, like, you can turn away. You just can't. You can't. He was on the floor saying, I can't breathe. And they ignored him. They ignored him. They didn't care, because they don't see him as a human. They don't see that his life matters. For them, if he dies, it's nothing. It doesn't matter. Life keeps going and whatnot. And it's like, really? Yo, this police, like, there are some policemen that need some better training, and there has to be some type of cost, sometime something in law or whatever, like they have to pass some type of law that if a police guard or policeman or whatever just take someone's life like that, it's gonna go through this, that, and X, Y, and Z. You know, there has to be some type of law. You know, and this is the time that the president should show up for people, show up for Americans, because blacks, yes, they are Americans. Even after all they contributed to the country, after all the country has done to them a lot of years ago, you know, like, how can you not protect and support the black community? That I don't understand. It's messed up. It's messed up. And it just needs to change. So all I wanna say is, like, I hope everything turns out fine with y'all, and like keep going at the fight. Like, don't give up. This is something that needs to keep going, so they know they gotta change, so they understand clearly that they have to change. So good luck, and yeah, I hope everything turns out fine. Um, okay, so don't forget to subscribe. That's it for today, I think. So don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, or dislike. For me, either way is welcome. Yeah, but subscribe, so every time I post, you guys will get the video directly.